So hello and welcome to this very special Shameless Reunion. Now this literally is due to popular demand. We had so many people get in touch and I'm really excited because no one has aged a day since the show. Well, of course from Johnny, who's literally changed so much. But let's say hello to the brilliant Kelli Hollis. How are you?
Thank you very much. Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on. And the brilliant, well, in the show, your other half, Chris Bisson. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm really good.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
My pleasure. It's good to see everyone.
It's been a while, I guess, since you guys have seen each other.
Yeah, I've seen, I think Kelli was the person I saw most recently, but everyone else I haven't seen for years.
Let's say hello to the lovely Dystin Johnson. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. It's really nice to see everyone. Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really excited to have you here today.
No, like Chris says, it's really nice to see some faces that you haven't seen for a long time. And they've all grown up, some of them.
And well, we're now with someone who literally did grow up on the show and she's become a kind of veteran at these reunions, the brilliant Rebecca Ryan. Thank you for coming on, coming back on.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm a pro at these now. They're great, aren't they?
Now,
this is how I do my socializing now.
It's great to have you back on. And now the lady that probably gives the best headbutt on television, without a doubt, the brilliant Tina Malone. How are you?
Oh, hi. Hi, everyone. Lovely to see everyone. I'm good, thank you. I mean, you know, in these difficult times for everyone, lovely to see everyone. Oh my God, Dystin, Kelli. Dystin, I haven't seen you for years. Oh my God. And Johnny, the size of Johnny, he's a man. Oh my God.
That's great.
I see quite often the gorgeous Wazza. And Chris, lovely to see you too. Yeah, it's lovely to see you all. It's like strange, isn't it? And Dean, where is he? Where's he gone?
He hopefully will be coming back. He was on, I think he was having camera problems, so he should be joining in just a moment.
Okay.
Let's say hello to the most easygoing police officer in the world on the show. You could pretty much get away with anything. The brilliant Warren Donnelly. How are you?
Gorgeous.
Hello. It's nice to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. So let's say hello to the brilliant Johnny Bennett. How are you?
Oh my God, Johnny.
Hello, everyone. Hey. Yeah, I'm very well. Very well. Good to see everyone as always. Yeah.
This must be a kind of surreal thing for you because you would have known all the guys on the screen when you were on the show as a child, and now you've all grown up. So is it kind of strange seeing everyone again?
Yeah, it's just nice to see everyone, as everyone said. Nice to reconnect with everyone and see how everyone's doing.
Obviously, Shameless, there were so many funny moments in the show. I mean, every episode you watch, there's something that just makes you laugh. So I want to ask everyone, what stands out for you when you think back to your entire time in the show? What stands out as the funniest moment for you? So starting with Kelli, when you think back to your...
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me, give me a chance to think of something. It's not that I can't think of it, it's just there's so much stuff. It's so hard to choose. I think when, obviously all the Davies stuff, all the Frank stuff is epic. I mean, the stuff between Frank and, I've forgotten your character name. Becky, I've forgotten your character name. Debbie.
Oh, my Debbie.
I loved all the Frank and Debbie stuff. I'm getting old. Come on, I can barely remember my own name these days. But I'll be honest, I did love the stuff that me and Warren had when Kash came back. And we tried to do the whole Dexter faking his death with a kill room and all that. I'll be honest, that's one of my personal favourites of my character storylines anyway, definitely. So yeah, that's fat ones for me.
What about for you, Chris, when you think back to your time? Because you had some great storylines, especially in the earlier series as well. So is there anything that stands out to you as kind of your funniest moment?
There's a few things. I was hoping that Dean would be here actually, because one of them is Dean. Working with Kelli and building her a throne out of toilet rolls was pretty funny. But I also remember when Alice Barry first came, and she wasn't even a regular character, and all she had to do was come in the shop and ask for a tin of salmon. And this is probably not as funny, but if you were on set, the art department, they all whispered, and then they came on set. So can we have your glasses, Alice? And they smeared gravy all over her glasses and then put them back on her after through the scene, just to kind of grime her up a bit, which was funny. And then the other one I will never ever forget is Dean Lennox Kelli's face. We always it's true to say, and I won't offend anyone, that the scripts were often late when we were
Yeah.
Shameless. So
Every
we
now and then.
sometimes go to the read-through and we hadn't seen the scripts. And there was one read-through and we were just flicking through it. And we turned, and I was sat directly opposite Dean in the read-through. And we turned over the page and it said something like, cut to scene 12. Kev is masturbating in a phone box. Dean's face just dropped because it was the first time. It was that realization that he was going to be on TV doing something totally, utterly embarrassing.
Then who knew what had happened to him after that?
Oh no, it was just his face with the picture. It was never on screen, but it's one of my memories that is etched in my mind. The look of horror on his face.
Hopefully he'll come back in just a moment. I know he's having issues with his camera, but let's go over to Dystin. What about you? What stands out as your favourite and funniest moment?
Well, apart from trying to avoid Johnny Bennett's farts on set,
Oh,
yeah, they were funny / horrific. Yes, Johnny, I remember, and I remember saying to you, "Do you know that farts have little particles of poo in them?" And you didn't believe me. You didn't believe me. I think, like Kelli said, there's so many, but as for a personal enjoyment, I remember the first series, really, even though I was 2 episodes of the first series, being confronted with Rebecca Ryan and Debbie Gallagher. And this kid was supposed to not like my character, be suspicious of my character. Look, she's even got her dog barking.
I'm so sorry you did this the last time.
But she was a scene stealer in the most brilliant and admiring way. And I remember making some toast or eating some toast, and her being there, this height, next to me, and we weren't even the focus of the scene. And this girl just giving me the most dirty stare, and I just thought, this little actress, I'm going to have to up my game, because she is absolutely stunning, and I've loved her ever since.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Well, we'll go over to you now, Rebecca. Obviously, it's great to have you back on. And we did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and you actually spoke a lot about your time in Shameless and have a lot of fun memories. So what stands out to you as kind of one of the funniest moments for you to film?
Character-wise, like storyline-wise, was the storyline that always sticks out to me is when Debbie did kidnap a child. Kidnapped a child to get money from it, basically, and it all worked out, and it was great. That's the storyline that sticks out the most to me. But I remember, I cannot even tell you what scene we were doing, but we were all in the Gallagher living room, and there was quite a few of us in, and I don't know what was said or what happened, but we got the giggles, like majorly got the giggles. And it was one of them ones where it was funny at the start, but then it went on and on and on, and we just couldn't stop. And in the end, we all had to get sent off the set because we just couldn't get ourselves together. And they're like, right, this is too much now. We were all sent off the set to calm down, because every time we were like, right, okay, it's fine. We've composed ourselves, it's absolutely fine. And then as soon as it was like, and action, we were just gone. And I will never forget being sent off the set to all calm down, to come back on. Finally, I think we could only do about 1 take of it, and then they just had to say, right, we'll just have to leave it, move on. Because we just couldn't stop. I can't. I'd love to know what it was or what was said, but I can't remember. But
you know what, Becky? I remember trying to do a scene in the Gallaghers, and Jack Dean was in the scene, and it was when we just first started. And obviously, he's playing a character with Tourette's, so you'd be doing this scene, and then he'd just swear across the set, and it would completely throw you, and it was really hard to keep your concentration.
He was too good at it, wasn't he, Jack?
Yeah,
too good at it.
Playing it.
Sorry, I'm just going to try and move my dog out the window so he's not stops barking at everyone.
Don't push your dog out the window.
I know, I'm trying to sort the dog out.
So I think we've got Alice should be here now. Can you hear us, Alice? She's joining, so we should see her in just a moment coming up on the screen. And Tina, I mean, you had there we Alice.
Hi.
Oh, this is going to be hysterical.
Hi, Alice.
Hi, Alice.
Everybody just wave at her
You
and freak
okay?
her out.
Hi.
Oh, she's waving. So, Tina, you had so many funny moments. I mean, every time I watch a scene with Mimi, I'm in stitches because I just love the way that she was almost like this mafia boss that would go into the pub, headbutt someone, and just take control of it. So, when you think back to your time in the show, what stands out as one of the funniest moments for you?
Oh my God, there were so many. It was one of those shows that I watched the first series and went, oh my God, I want to be in that. And you know, if you look at the kind of, you know, the Kash and you know the Kelli and the Copper story, and then you go to Norma and Monica, and then you go to, you know, the Gallaghers and Ian and the story with Kash and Ian, and then Mickey, you know, my son, and Shane, and then Alice, and the, you know, the brothel. And I just think everybody, every single person in that show had their moment. I can't recall. I can remember being shocked over and over. And I can remember saying to Lawrence once when, you know, and bear in mind, I used to get amendments put under my apartment door that said, you know, from production, really kind of, you know, strict, Tina, scene 3, page 5, line 6, change TWAT to CUNT. And, you know, you kind of go, this is like work. And but I always remember Lawrence telling me I was going to be having sex with a very young priest in the confessional. And I was like, what is this for real? And God love him, I was shaking, but the lad was shaking in the full kind of stuff, and I literally was shaking with nerves and just couldn't stop laughing. But I mean, I don't think I'll ever be again in a show where every single one of the cast were brilliant. Every single person. There were you could go, oh, you know, the Maguires, the Gallaghers, you know, the shop, the you know, whatever, the police or whatever, Alice, you know, Lillian and the brothel. But I just think every single person, without sounding like a, you know, everybody had their moments, which was just, that's why it worked. That's why it worked. You know, so for me, it was an honour to be in it and to play Mimi. And also, you know, the beauty of all that was it was Jacobean. It was, as well as comedy, it was tragedy. I mean, all those characters were so very sad as well in so many ways. So, you know, at the time it was so groundbreaking, and now we have a whole new generation of people. I'm getting lads on BMXs shouting Mimi again in the street. I'm like, you ain't
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
So, you know, it's quite bizarre that with Netflix, thank God, a whole new generation of people are still enjoying it and embracing it. And I think that's, you know, that's incredible.
Well, we got loads more questions to ask you about your character, and we'll come back in just a moment. Warren, are you there?
I think I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you. I've got 2 boxes for you.
Yeah,
I know I'm going to use a different device to connect.
Ah, there we go. We can see you on one of them. There we go.
Yeah. Can you see me on this one? Okay, well, I can't see myself, but that's okay.
So, Warren, when you think back to your time on the show, what stands out as a funny moment?
Well, I used to always read the scripts and laugh out loud, and occasionally roll my eyes at some of the things I had to do. But I do remember interrogating Alice Barry, and she fainted with narcolepsy, or narcolepsy, as she pronounced it, which made me laugh every time she did it, because it was like a moment of genius when she fainted.
I think Alice is able to hear us now. It says that we've got your audio. How are you?
Alice, you're on mute. Love. You're on mute, Alice. You're on mute. There's a little button that you got to press.
Alice, is there a microphone button with a red line through it? If there is, click it.
There we go. We got Jeff.
There we go.
There we go. Hi, Alice.
Yay! Was that quick, Lewis?
It's nice after all these years, isn't it?
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, lovely.
Thank you for coming on. We were just asking everyone when they think back to their time on the show, what stands out as one of the funniest moments to film and be part of. So, what stands out to you when you think, because you were in so many episodes, over 100. So, what stands out as one of the funniest moments for you?
Well, I did a lot of credit breakers as well, which was funny. But to working with Warren with the police, that was funny. And then they thought I was a terrorist because I'd asked some rice in. Yeah, there were quite a lot of few funny things, you know, in the brothel, of course.
There were so many moments. We got lots to talk to you about. Let's go over to Johnny. Now, Johnny, there were so many storylines. I mean, there was one I always remember with Debbie and Liam, where I think they pretended that you were ill. And there was a fundraiser that your head was shaved. It was such a deep storyline that when you look back now, you're just like, oh my God, how did they get away with that? So what stands out to you as a funny moment that you always remember?
There was obviously a lot of moments that were absolutely side-splitting at the time, but the one that stands out to me is one that was off camera. So we were filming a thing. I think it was they were doing a fundraiser or a fun day or something, and it involved me throwing wet sponges all day for maybe 100 takes at Elliott, who was playing Carl, just all day throwing sponges at him and taking absolute great pleasure in doing so. And then when it came towards the end of the day, I was then accosted, grabbed by about 4 lads, including Elliott, and was then thrown into the pool. As kind of a bit of retribution.
It was outside. It was outside the shop, and they had the beach day.
Oh,
yeah.
do you remember the beach day?
Yeah. And Alice, didn't you get bit?
Yeah.
Did you have to go to hospital?
Yes, we all got bit.
Because the sand wasn't clean. It wasn't proper sand that they should have used. And there were like bugs in it. And Alice got like bit by this 3-pronged creature, and she had to go to
everybody
hospital.
was in the beach.
Yeah.
It seems like you had such a laugh, and that's the great thing with these reunions, because you always hear stories that we would never know about, especially that go on behind the scenes. Now, Chris,
they're the ones you don't want to hear, to be honest. I used to joke back in the day, because I were always taking photographs and videos of everybody, and I used to joke and just say it's not for my own personal use, it's for leverage later. So
with these reunions, one thing I always love to know is the audition process, because everyone always has kind of like a different story to tell when they go to their audition. So I wanted to start off with Kelli. When you think back to your audition, was there anything that stood out as kind of interesting or a story to tell with your audition?
It was weird because I never actually auditioned for Yvonne.
Really?
I auditioned for Veronica, and then when I see Maxine's name on the list, I was like, well, that's not going to happen, obviously. And I'd literally I'd actually got a job on another job, and I gave birth to my son early, and I lost out on the other job. And basically the casting director got in touch and said, look, I'm really sorry about what happened with the other gig, but I've got you an audition for this new thing. I don't really know much about it. So can you imagine if my son Giles just popped his head through the door then? If he hadn't come early, I would have got the other job, and I would have never even have auditioned.
Wow.
But I auditioned for Veronica. Obviously, I knew Maxine was auditioning, so there's no way I was going to get that. Plus, I did say, look, I've just given birth like 2 weeks ago. And I actually auditioned then for Jez the landlady, and they offered me Yvonne. I never actually auditioned for the part of Yvonne.
All worked out well in the end, and now you're here today.
It really did, yeah.
Reunited.
When I don't get jobs now, when I do sales tips and auditions and I don't get them, I don't really care anymore, because it's just like, well, you just never know what's going to be around the corner.
Yeah, 100%. Chris, what about you? Is there a story to tell with your audition?
Not so much with the audition, to be honest with you, because Paul Abbott said, I want you to do this show. And then I read the script and I thought I might be a bit young. But I was coming out of Coronation Street, so I wanted to do something completely different. But the most memorable thing about that whole process was that Paul said to me, so really want you to do the show. It's going to be great. And then we were just before production, I think it was. And he rings me and he went, he said, I've just decided to change the ages of one of the characters. Not that it won't, you know, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And then the next day was in the Sun, full page, Chris Bisson, paedophile. He'd only lowered Ian's age down below the age of consent. I was like,
knew that.
what are you doing to me? You could have at least kind of told me that was what you were doing.
Absolutely
That is
brilliant.
nuts.
I was going to ask Alice, actually, did you remember when they put the gravy on your glasses, Alice, when we were in the shop?
Yes, I do. The things that you used to do to me. You and Elliott and all and everybody.
Two
Used
tins
to
of
wind
salmon
me up
cash.
knowing.
Used to come
Can I
back.
just also say on Alice's behalf, Alice got banned from her own church in real life because she worked on Shameless.
Really?
Didn't he,
That's
Alice?
true,
Didn't your
that's
priest
true.
ban you?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's
Yeah.
Hi,
shocking.
Dean.
Chris,
Hi, Dean.
Chris,
Hi, Dean.
can you hear me, Chris?
Yeah, I can,
Chris,
Alice.
can you hear me?
I can, love, yeah.
Can you remember what you said about me in that tomato outfit? What you used to like? When I was dressed as a tomato, do you remember?
You dressed as a tomato. Can't remember what I said, though. Hope it was kind.
Probably not. What did he say to you, Alex? What did he say?
He said he loved it.
Right,
So,
okay.
you think kinky or what?
Alice, you seem like so much fun. I can just imagine you making everyone's kind of day when you were filming.
Oh, we had such laughs, such laughs. Oh, the things
Oh, you
that
said I
happened
had
and
to
the
share a
boys
dressing
used to
room with
wind me
her.
up. I know, and I used to eat her pudding every day.
Every day she used to nick me pudding. I used to get me dinner. I'd go back to my room, have a little 20-minute power nap. I'd wake up and she'd scrounge me pudding every single time without fail.
I can remember Warren and Michael. We were filming outdoors. I think you were outside a chip shop, and we got mugged. Everybody round us did to get security. Warren will remember.
Dean's on an episode of Cribs. He just keeps going round his house.
I think
Lewis.
he can hear us, but we can't hear you at the moment. Oh, he's got a picture.
Oh, nice one.
Oh.
I wonder if he can actually hear us, and this is like a prank just to see how long we're going to go before we
Yeah,
realise.
maybe. We can't tell with his facial expressions because of his beard.
This could just be the best prank that's ever been played. Incredible. So,
Yeah, I think you're
Dystin,
right,
can you
yeah.
hear us?
I think you're right, Lewis. I think he's messing with us.
Yeah, he is.
Lewis,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
we can hear you.
Oh, Lewis, when I first went on Shameless, I was a naughty nun in an episode, and I was a real naughty nun. And then after we finished that, Paul said to me, I want you to come in as Lillian, the brothel keeper. And that's how I got into it. Yeah.
Oh, is Elliott here?
So we should have Elliott taking part now, and you should be able to see him on your screen in just a moment.
Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
I think it's Dean's trying to talk to us all.
I want to hear from Dean, but I feel like he's pretending. This is brilliant if he if he is.
Oh,
Alan.
He's talking. We can't hear you, Dean. We can't lip read because of your beard.
Get a notepad. Get a notepad.
Yeah, get a pad.
Might have to
Hi,
write back.
Elliott.
Oh,
Elliott!
How are you?
Can't hear you.
Oh no.
unmute.
No, he's just. We need you to unmute your mic on there. Then
Dean's just having a right there. Look at him.
I've got so many questions for Dean as well, and I'm wanting to ask. Rebecca, heading over to you. This must be so cool for you to see everyone again, because we discussed before, it was such a big part of your life, and with your character, you were, this young girl, but yet you were made to almost be like an adult. You were in charge of looking after the family, bringing up your siblings, and the thing is, when you actually look at it, things like that happened in real life. People have been in that situation. And it's like Tina said, although there are a lot of funny storylines and comedy, there was a lot of sadness to some of the storylines.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you watch Shameless and you kind of know families like that, and the love and the dysfunctional element of it was just brilliant. And we were, you know, I know it's maybe cliche to say, but we were like our family on there. They were my real life brothers and sisters and aunties and uncles. And because I spent so much time, I grew up on that show from the age of 11. So it was having a second family. I had a great family and my own family, but then I had a second family who I saw more or less every single day, and I grew up with. My whole childhood, really, from 11 till 18, was on that show. So yeah, then, you know, the storylines were incredible. It was incredibly written and funny, absolutely hilarious when you think about the stuff that they got up to, but also really hard hitting and actually quite, you know, sad and tragic, really, but sort of funneled with a lot of humor and, you know, that sort of took that edge away from it, really. But it was just fantastic.
It must be nice for you to see Elliott on here as well, because you were talking in our interview about you were really close to him on the show.
Hiya everyone. Sorry, let me thanks for being late.
How are you?
Good to see you, love.
Hey, come on. Oh, Elliott.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Oh yeah, hairy, Elliott. You're
Tell you
everything
what,
hairy.
let me just I'm new to Zoom, so I've not really used it before. Yeah, Chris,
How
how
you
you
doing,
doing?
Hi, Elliott.
Oh, Elliott, it's so good to see you.
Tina.
Hi, gorgeous.
Alice, Johnny, no way.
You okay?
Man, it's mad, isn't it?
Yes, Tino.
Oh my God,
Dave's
some of
messing with
you,
us.
some of you
This
don't
is lovely,
look
guys.
any different. Like Dino, Warren, and Elliott, and Kelli, and Dystin, and Chris don't look any different. But Johnny and Becky and Elliott all look like grown up, and Alice looks the same. We've all stayed the same, and they've all grown up. Oh my God!
That's a good sign, surely, if you stayed the same.
Well, I hope we have.
These are looking fresh.
Elliott,
You're looking fresh, mate.
You're looking lovely.
Do you ever, can I ask all the cast, do you ever get asked? I mean, I do all the time, even though, you know, it's a new generation with Netflix and BritBox and everything looking at it. Do you ever get asked? The one thing I constantly get asked is, are you going to do it again? Is there going to be another one?
Relentlessly. At least 10 times a day.
Yes,
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
How many people?
Would you do it again?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Would you all do it again if it came back? If they asked you to come back?
Yes,
Of course, show me the money. Of course we would. No, joking aside.
Depends how much it's for.
Yeah, whatever, Tina. Whatever. No, honestly, joking aside, I think all of us could genuinely say that. I think none of us are ever going to do a job like that ever again.
No.
No.
Never.
It was a beautiful
never,
job
ever.
to grow up in, anyway, sincerely.
Yeah.
Yes, and Elliott winding me up.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get to play a character ever like that. And I don't think I'll ever get to work with a cast where you go, every single member of the cast is special. I just don't think
It would have been, you're right, Tina, it was such a, it is and was such a special job, and it feels like yesterday.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
Dystin.
Yes, Alice, I can see you. Yes, I can see.
You know, I apologise to you, didn't you, that day? Because I couldn't remember your name and I called you.
I was just going to say, she's got your name right, Dystin, do you remember?
And I
Dystin,
apologise.
I used to have a mare with Alice because for some reason she could not get Dystin's name into her head. She would call Dystin. Dystin. She once called her Dusty Bin.
It's Destiny come in.
Even called her Dusty Bin once.
But she took it in good sport.
Oh,
We
you
had
can't
so
not win
many
it for you,
laughs,
Alice.
didn't we?
we did.
We had so many laughs on Shameless. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, probably more behind the scenes than what you even see on screen, if that's even humanly possible.
Elliott winding me up, Elliott shaking in my dressing room and frightening me to death. Elliott, yes.
Good fun, Al.
Oh, good fun, darling. Yes, good fun.
And the beauty of it
Actually, the
was,
best.
the beauty of it was every kind of 12 months, if you like. We would have, you know, like from Stephen Lord to Angeline Ball, you know, we'd have these great characters that would come in even for 6 months, 12 months. And they would even, you know, Sally's guy on Joe Dutton, who's in Corrie now, they would come in and play a character for 6 months or 12 months. And they became so intrinsically a part of the family and the fabric of what was Shameless so instantly, because everybody was so well cast, you know, and it was so important.
People used to think that I really run a brothel.
You don't, you Al.
You do, you liar.
I know, it's true. It's
I
true.
did.
I was on holiday in Spain walking down the sea front, and this old woman stopped and she said, "You're that prostitute." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm a madam." But we had so many laughs. It was good fun, wasn't it? It was good fun.
Yeah,
It's nice to see everybody. Can I just say to all the cast, cheers, because I love working with you,
Alice.
Cheers, Alice.
Cheers, Al.
Guys.
Maybe on the 10th anniversary, which I think we've all been left now. Well, the show's been finished 7 years, hasn't it? And I think maybe on the 10th anniversary, they should do a Christmas special or something.
I already wrote one. Don't you worry about that. I've had one written for about 10
the Christmas special, Kelly? Do you remember the Christmas special when the donkey kept knocking me out of the way? The donkey kept
I remember watching that. Yeah.
Louis, I honestly, we could do a whole interview just on the things I know about Alice Barry.
I think we
I'm
should
not
look
even
into
joking
that. This could be.
She once asked me, I know you won't mind me telling this story, Alice, because I tell it to everybody. She once asked me, there's more to the story. Did Heimlich maneuver mean BJ, basically? It was like teaching me grandma about rude things and having to use terminology that she didn't have a clue what she was saying half the time.
I'm going to use that as the intro to this.
Do you know, when I went on Benidorm, people saw to me, they thought we were filming Shameless. And I went on Benidorm. He said, "Oh, it's that prostitute. They're filming Shameless." I said, "No, we're not."
we used to always ask for him to film an episode abroad, didn't we? We all wanted an holiday.
Most of us would have gone on a night out and never come back. You know what I mean?
The furthest we got.
Wise decision from production.
In the words of Kieran Griffiths, it would have been carnage.
Yeah, the furthest we got to go.
Louis, are you all right up there, Louis? You don't even ask any questions for him.
No, this is brilliant. I want to hear more Alice stories, but I'm going to go over to Elliott because we didn't ask you. You joined after I asked the question, which is, do you have any kind of funny stories that you can remember from your time on the show, whether it's behind the scenes or something like that, when you think back to your time on there?
Loads, to be honest. I suppose it'd be hard to sort of pick one from the ether there, but I mean, it was just such a beautiful show to grow up on. It's sort of, I suppose you don't really stop to take a moment, especially at the young age that I was growing up on it and stuff like that, to appreciate what you was doing, I suppose. So, you know, especially at the age that I am now, it's just beautiful to be able to look back and see how much of a great show it was and how much it meant to people at the time. Like Tina said, then people still talk about it and still ask if we're ever going to be doing it again. So that shows really the connection it had with people. So I mean, just to really be a part of that is
it's a privilege to have been in it.
It's a privilege, yeah, it is massively.
That's a really good point, actually, Elle, because I think us as adults, we all, again, after a few years, you sort of think, oh my God, I can't believe this has just gone mental and everybody's gone through. It must have been even stranger for you and Rebecca and your kid and that. And Johnny, obviously, not even having to understand that at that age.
You know, Elliott, when you, I mean, when you think of the storylines like Becky and Johnny, you know, I remember when Johnny had this stuff where he had to wear a dress and all that. And I remember Becky had some really difficult storylines. I mean, you know, the sex as a teenage girl. And then Elliott, you know, I mean, I remember Elliott, I don't know whether you remember, it's just come to me now, where we had a scene where I had to smack Carl's face. And you said to me, go for it. And I went for it. I went, are you sure? Are you really sure? And I went for it, and I nearly took his bloody head off.
Hey,
And
I
we
regretted
kept
that, yeah.
it. But you
I
know,
bet you
things
did.
like that. I mean, the shock on his face. But I mean, you know, we had.
It's good though. That.
Like I've said, like Becky, to reiterate what Becky said, you know, to look at the stuff that we did, it was absolutely groundbreaking in how explicit and graphic it was. But if you scratch that veneer and look at how prevalent and socially topical and relevant those subjects were. I mean, I did the story, you know, where they thought Mimi was racist with Karen and her husband in the show. And it was total ignorance. And I mean, we did that kind of, if you like, 10, 12 years ago. And stuff's still being made like that now. I mean, we did stuff that was absolutely out there, you know, in every way. And for me, that's a privilege to have been able to do such funny stuff, such groundbreaking stuff, but such important stuff. Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of what Channel 4
But I think
was really pushing at the time.
Elliott, I think I got my own back on you, didn't I, when I smacked your bare
Oh,
bottom?
you're in shit, you, Elliott.
Right.
She's proper gunning for you, mate.
Gunning for me, Alice. I only spoke to you on the phone about 2 weeks ago.
I know. We speak a lot on the phone. But I got my own back that day.
Hopefully, we'll be able to speak to Dean in just a moment. Can you hear us yet, Dean? And more importantly, can we hear you? I've got so many questions.
I can.
Hey!
You know,
Right.
You've been messing with us.
I was having a technological breakdown. Hey?
What did you think about us for Reds last year?
Straight in with that, are we? Oh, amazing.
What's it like to see everyone again?
It's emotional.
It's not This Is Your Life, Dean.
Who's that?
Dean, you
Who
let me
said
go
that?
in the bar with you, didn't you?
Who said that? Who said it's not?
Yeah, I
This Is Your
said it,
Life?
Dean. Kelly.
Kelly, how are you doing? I can't see everyone. How do you see everyone?
Swipe left on the
Like on Tinder.
Swipe. Oh man, she's on it. Swipe left.
All right, it's one of them, and you should be able to see everyone then.
You just keep swiping until you see everyone. Oh, there's Elliott. Hiya, man. How you doing?
yes, Dino.
Oh, mate. Are you homeless?
It looks like you've done it. You and me should camp out together, do you? We fit the part, don't we?
Mate, you look like you're in the van that used to sit outside the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mate, that is
Not
going.
far, mate.
Mate, that is going.
Norma's
Not far from it.
house. Norma's
I'm in the room.
camper van.
I'm in the room where I've got a couple of shameless pictures on the wall, but that's going some, man. You're in the van outside the house on the set.
Better than all that.
When you think back to your time on the show, you know, what were some of your funniest moments? Because Chris was telling us he actually wanted you on the call because Chris was telling a story about Chris. Do you want to come back in with that? Because I know you were waiting for Dean.
Yeah, Dino, I remember one read through that the scripts came late, so we hadn't read the scripts before. So the first time when we turned the page, that was the first time we'd ever read what was on that script. And I remember just turning over to scene 12 and it just said, cut to scene 12 or something. Kev is wanking in the phone box. And your face was dropped.
Yeah. Happy days. Can't wait for my kids to see that one.
Were there times for you as actors when you would read the scripts and think, oh my God, I can't believe they want me to do that? Because when I watched it back on Netflix, I couldn't quite believe some of the stuff that you had to do. And I know, you know, being an actor, they always say that you just go in there and do the job, but it must have been awkward or even uncomfortable at times.
I shook hands with Karen Bryson. Literally went, hi, nice to meet you. And then I had to imagine that I was going down on her 5 minutes later.
Good introduction,
I got clued up pretty early on after the first series. I realised how naughty it were going to be. And I got a very strict no sex scene, no nudity clause put in my contract. Not because I'm a prude,
But make
because
sure
my
there
dad would
was
kick
one.
my ass.
I made sure there was one.
I'll just go on to you then.
I insisted.
But then I reluctantly, you know, opened it up, obviously, when they wanted to do the stuff with Wazza, obviously, in stockroom and stuff, so, you know.
Nothing ever ceased to amaze me. I can remember literally getting kind of emails through the night saying, Tina, Mimi's character, the gangbang on the bonnet tomorrow's now 5 men, not 6. I mean, they're the kind of, and so now when I'm on other shows and they go, you know, when they're micing you up and they go, is it okay if I put the mic down your back? I go, did you see the show I was in? Are you kidding me? Do you know what I mean? So, because you had to be that open.
Yeah.
It's just the way it was. Do you know what I mean?
I remember saying to Annabelle Acton, saying, Annabelle, big pants, please, today. Big pants. Wear your big pants. Because I had to go driving somewhere. Yeah.
Kelly, can you remember that scene I had to do where I had this old gentleman customer of mine in the brothel that was dying, and I had to go and give him a wank and then put the pillow over his head to say, happy sleep, good night, and smother him.
It was so bad. Because Alice is Alice, obviously. That show ruined that woman. Absolutely ruined her. I used to have the words and the terminology I used to have to explain to her. Not enough therapy to deal with all that, honestly. But yeah, even just saying the word, Alice, oh my God.
We had such fun though, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, we had a lot of fun. Lot
Warren,
of fun.
I wanted to
Remember
go to
those
Warren.
long days in the jockey? Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The jockey.
didn't they go on?
Warren, just heading back over to you now. That your character was so funny because he would literally let people get away with every single crime. And there's a scene I always remember where someone steals a racehorse and he goes into Paddy Maguire's back garden and asks if anyone's seen this racehorse. And he sat on this horse having his portrait done. And you then go over to him and say, oh, if you see anything, let us know, and then just leave. It was so brilliant to have this policeman. You must have loved reading the script.
I've forgotten about that. The luckiest man alive to get all that stuff and be in the show. I did once have to be dressed up as Elvis and get a blowjob off somebody, so that was a bit strange. But we all had our share of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, I kept on getting really nice, funny bits to do, so no complaints.
If people tune in and watch this and they've never watched Shameless and they hear some of the things that you've been talking about, it would be gold. Johnny, can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Obviously,
sorry, I was just.
We were saying when you first come on, everyone was just saying how different you look. Do you still get recognised as your character? Because you've literally changed so much out of everybody, on the show.
No, it's more of a rarity now, I must say. Yeah, sometimes I meet people and then further down the line it transpires or it comes out and they find out that I was in Shameless many moons ago, and some of the shock and the disbelief reactions is quite enjoyable. I think I've got a couple of people at my work at the moment who still don't believe me, which is quite good.
Oh, we'll have to show them this then, won't you?
Well,
What's it like seeing Elliott and Rebecca again, like fellow family members? Because I mean, Rebecca was saying on a separate interview we did that you were all literally like a family on set. And I remember, Rebecca, you were actually telling a really cool story. I think it was that Elliott bought you a drink for your birthday in a club or had drinks sent over.
No, do you remember Elliott on my 18th birthday?
God, you're going to be testing me now. Fucking hell, I can't remember what happened 2 weeks ago.
Elliott's living his best life in that van right now.
on my actual 18th birthday, you came round to go out and I fainted, and then everyone had to go home. Everyone had to go home. That was on my actual 18th birthday. But when I was turning 18, you were saying, oh, what are you going to do for your birthday? And I said, oh, I'm going to go, my first night out, I'm going to the birdcage. And you went, oh, right, okay, yeah, that's fine. And I was in the birdcage, loving life. And this guy came and tapped me on the shoulder and went, are you Elliott's friend? And I thought, what have I done? I went, yeah. And he went, right, come with me. And he took me up into the VIP area and he was like, right, Elliott's told me I have to look after you and make sure you're all right for the night. He said he rang up and made sure he was like, Rebecca's coming in tonight. Make sure you look after her and she's okay. It's her first night out.
Oh,
And was it a good night or what?
Yeah, I had Elliott looking after me, so it was great.
Elliott did that for me at Wetherspoons once.
What was that, Dystin?
Said Elliott did that for me at Wetherspoons once.
I remember us going to watch Simple Minds, actually.
Yeah. Oh,
that was top. That I proper enjoyed that, man. That was top.
Yeah, I was a Simple Minds fan back in the day, and they were coming to Manchester, and I was like, oh, who can anybody? Does anybody want to come with me? Billy No Mates, because I was, living in Manchester, working in Manchester. I was away from home, so I didn't have my usual pals around me. So I asked about, who was around today, and Elliott was there, and I was so glad he came. It was one of the most memorable nights, spending some time.
I had a top night, to be honest. It was proper nice because Deacon Blue opened up for him as well, and that's sort of the music my mum used to listen to. So it was I proper loved it. I proper loved it.
I mean, when Rebecca was saying about the family side of it, even though I wasn't one of the siblings, it was my fondest memory really of being around these young people who were growing up before your eyes, and being able to be. I didn't really have scenes with anyone else, but apart from the Gallaghers and obviously Monica, and they really made my time for me, those young people, because we could be silly, we could be serious, we were professional, and there was just so much genuine love that I had for them. And you don't often get that when you're working. You don't often get to build relationships that are based with people who are got really good souls. So yeah, I miss those little ones, but now they're all big. And whenever I bumped into you on the train, didn't I, Elliott, one time?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we did do it.
Yeah, I got all slushy.
What I'd love to ask everyone now is, I know in the crazy kind of times that we're in at the moment, productions have only just, getting back up, but it'd be great to kind of find out life since the show and what you're all doing now. But also, I'd love to know what your most shocking moment on Shameless was. So when you think back to your time, the scene or something that you filmed that you look back to as being the most shocking. We spoke about the funniest moment. So going over to Kelli, what's life been like for you since leaving the show, and what would you say your most shocking moment is?
Well, a few years after I left, I had the pleasure of getting to go on Emmerdale and work again with Chris. And I think he loved it, because then he was my boss at Emmerdale, so he got to boss me around for a bit instead of vice versa. And since then, on one of my most shocking ones, and this is really embarrassing because obviously everybody were doing all the stuff that they were doing on the show, and utmost respect for him. But we did the Bond scene thing where we all do like this Bond thing. Well, yeah. I'm usually fully dressed in a shalwar kameez, but this one particular day we had to do like this Bond ident thing, and the costume for me, I was so unsure, which I'd been there like 4 or 5 years and we're just not used to having things on show, and I had to wear this bikini, and they were more embarrassing because I only ever tan my legs, but because they wanted to put me in this bikini, they had to stick me in a little booth dead quick and tan me up, and I just sat with this dressing gown on for about an hour just waiting to go on set, because I was probably one of the only characters who not revealed anything. So yeah, to be honest, that's one of the most shocking ones for me.
Well, Chris, we all know you've become an Emmerdale legend, obviously, since leaving the show. And I know that before we came on today, Tina was complimenting you on your scenes that you filmed, and saying that she watches the show, which is incredible. So what was life like for you leaving the show and then joining, obviously, Emmerdale, one of the most successful and loved shows on TV?
I had a bit of a break between, a little bit of a break from acting for a while, and then, it's been great joining Emmerdale. I've really enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a very, very different show to what we were doing on Shameless. I just always remember the Shameless days as kind of wild in kind of every sense. It was wild at work, it was wild when you got the scripts, it was wild every time you turned the page over, you were going, oh my god, you can't do that. And I remember when we did the it was the fake cancer storyline, and I remember reading it and going, you just can't do that on telly. It's not right. But people just loved it, and it didn't matter how far the writers pushed it. It just, I don't know. I think maybe obviously there was a comedy aspect to it, so you could get away with a little bit more. But it was outrageous, some of the things that we were all asked to do. I mean, yes, so I didn't get asked to do the most outrageous things, but there were a few things that made me that were tricky.
Make you want to call your agent.
I always think if they brought it back now, whether they would get away with it. Because I mean, I love it, but people seem to complain about the smallest thing on TV now, or anything that they find offensive. So it makes you think: would it be as big, and would there be loads of complaints? Because it was really near the knuckle. Some of the stuff, like you were.
It's all about context, though. It's all about context.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You know what was truthful to those characters and truthful to those lives.
Exactly.
So I think that's why it worked, because it was believable, and that I think Paul Abbott was a genius in those first few series in making characters incredibly rounded, with just a few words. You know, when I came in as Norma, it was just supposed to be for 1 or 2 episodes, and she was very thinly written, but in what he had written, I got a lot and enough to run with. And thanks to him, I was able to interpret what he wanted and continue in the show a bit longer. But I think it's because of that truth in those early scripts of who we were, that we were fully rounded, we weren't two-dimensional, that you can go anywhere with a character if it's fully rounded, and has, as somebody said earlier, you know, has some depth, has some light and shade, and they were all characters that we loved to hate, or we just simply loved them, and because of that truth, it worked.
The truth, that's it. That's what the bottom of it. The truth. There was no hiding from that, and people appreciate that in whatever shape or form it comes in.
What was great when I watched it back was I loved you'd get a character be introduced, but the development of that character throughout every series, you would then start to know more about them, more about their background, and see them do different stuff. And I love the development of each character. But going back to you, Dystin, what stands out for you as the most shocking moment that you remember? But then what's life been like for you since leaving the show, and what kind of stuff have you been up to?
I can't remember many shocking things. I do, because I mean, I think it was that you didn't see many gay characters on the screen, particularly lesbian characters, and let alone characters who were, you know, she was written as a butch lesbian, and I was very proud to portray that in a truthful and honest way. But I do remember that there was a the big pants day, and I had to go down, and I thought my dad's never ever going to watch this, and but it was just a really lovely shot of that they did of my hand against the inside. We was inside the camper van, and they steamed up the inside of the camper van, and a shot of my hand pressing against it as somebody was reaching a pinnacle of enjoyment, and not necessarily shocking, but funny. I thought that was detailed and truthful and funny. Since Shameless, well, you know, it's a funny old game, isn't it? Because I think people genuinely thought that I was a northern, you know, they thought she was Geordie. She was actually from Teesside in my head. That I was that person, that I was gay, and that I would drive trucks, and that I was butch, and, you know, that people should feel sorry for me, and that I had this, you know, this Teesside accent. And so I got a lot of roles offered to me that were the same, that were really butch roles. Or, you know, I remember reading one going, who is it they want me to play in this? And then it was revealed that they were trans. And even though, you know, I'm really proud that, you know, for a little while there, I was a bit of a gay icon for the what we now call the LGBT community. It was a real honor to stand next to them as my, you know, as in sisterhood. But it did, for a couple of years, it was really, really tricky. It was really tricky, and I would turn up at auditions, and they'd go, "Oh, so you're not quite what we expected." And I go, "Yeah, well, I'm an actor, so I can do whatever it is that you want me to do." So I didn't work much for a couple of years after Shameless, and then steadily and surely the roles that I was getting before Shameless started to come in, and that's how it's been ever since. But I did have a pause, because I really wanted to have a family. So I became I couldn't do it in other ways, so I became a foster parent, And
wow.
yeah, therapy
Amazing.
foster parent for 5 years, and that's been another highlight of my life. And,
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of the work that I did at Shameless, because that I remember. Do you remember doing that scene, the Christmas scene, everyone, where it was we had to sing lip sync to take that. That one day,
Yeah.
this will all be somebody else's, someone
Never
else's.
forget
Never forget.
Oh, it was the wedding. It was Karen and Jamie's wedding.
Yeah. And I just remember as we were filming it that this will all be someone else's dream at some point. And I thought, gosh, yeah, this is amazing what we're doing here. And one day it won't be my truth anymore. It'll be somebody else's.
Totally.
And I really hope I get a chance to be in a series again with that depth and that level of writing and that kind of character that's, got all of those dimensions. I really hope that happens. But if it doesn't, I've got some nice memories, and I'm really glad that I've got to meet some of these people.
That was so nice to hear.
That was so lovely.
Yeah. Rebecca, obviously we spoke just a couple of weeks ago. We know a lot of what you've been doing. You went on, of course, to go in Waterloo Road, playing Vicky McDonald. So and Casualty as well. So life's been pretty good in regards to leaving the show as this child actor and then going into other television as well.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't complain. I've been so lucky with the parts that I've come in after Shameless. Like, I left Shameless when I was 18, and sort of a few months after leaving Shameless, I got Waterloo Road, which was on for about 3 years, which was an amazing show to be on again. A few theatre bits and stuff in between, and then getting to go on Casualty sort of for the last 3 years has just been amazing. So I've been incredibly lucky to sort of be in the shows that I've been in for the amount of time that I've been in it. I feel incredibly lucky.
Tina, what about you? Because Mimi was such an iconic and legendary character in the show. And I know you went on to do a lot of shows of reality TV as well and was hugely popular. So what's life been like for you since leaving the show? And what stands out as a shocking moment as well?
Well, I left the show and had my own 2 documentaries on Sky, which, were nominated for awards around the world. Tina Malone, Pregnant at 50, and Tina Malone, My Perfect Body. And I kind of went from being the poster girl for IVF for older women and losing 12 stone, weight loss surgery. And then I became the Pablo Escobar of the celeb world, which we won't go into. But so I had some really incredible times and then some really difficult times, mental health wise, brought on by occurrences, out of my hands, where I ended up in a lot of serious trouble through no fault of my own, I hasten to add, and then ended up in the High Court in London, and with thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of fines and a suspended prison sentence for retweeting something that was illegal that I shouldn't have done. And I paid the price of that by not working for probably 18 months, 2 years. It was a very dark time, very difficult time. And I had a huge breakdown. I've been bipolar since I was 28 and had many drink, drug problems, issues, weight in the past. I'm now a better person for it all. And in the last kind of 12 months, I've just filmed a couple of things. Started off with spits and coughs and now more regular work. And don't get me wrong, I'd bite your hand off if Emmerdale or Corrie or something knocked on my door. I've always been brutally honest, or Casualty or Hobby or anything. I, like Dystin, I go for a lot of stuff and they tend to kind of go with me, oh, you're not as fat as you were. So I'm kind of a bit of a disappointment a lot of the time, which is still quite odd to me. But I've become a better person, a calmer person, a nicer person, more decent, more rounded. And the upshot is I have a husband who has stuck by me through thick and thin, who's a wonderful man and has been in and out of the army for 13 years. And I have a beautiful 7-year-old daughter to show for my hard work and everything else, who is the most joy in my life. And I have a 5-year-old granddaughter, and my eldest daughter is 39 now, turns 40 this year. So I'm settled back in Liverpool. I'm working on moving into directing and producing, which is great. And I'm kind of enjoying life, struggling like everybody else through these unprecedented times. And I am Marmite. I'm either love me or hate me, but that's just the nature of the beast. That's the way I am. But I'm a lot more forgiving, and I've learned a lot of hard lessons, being not as once, you know, on to people's television screens every single week and running to the Caribbean every other week. So my life has changed drastically, physically, mentally, and emotionally and financially. But no, all is good. And, you know, I'm very blessed to be alive. I'm very blessed and fortunate to have been in Shameless for the 8-9 years. I always remember going in, and the biggest shock to me was kind of going in on the back of Dean and Maxine and being absolutely horrified and terrified that me and Sean would never, ever be able to fill those incredible shoes. But the beauty of Shameless was it continued to evolve and to grow. And like I said before, every character had its moment, had its tragedy and its comedy. And every single character in that show was so beautifully written and directed. And it was so fast paced, and we worked damned hard, harder than most people would imagine. And I'd done 5 years in Brookside 25 years ago, so I knew how things work. But yeah, I will treasure those 8-9 years for the rest of my life. I don't think I will ever find a role or a family like that ever again. You know, I don't know, who knows? It's in the hands of the gods, but I doubt it. As beautifully written, and to work for the likes of, you know, Charlie, George and Paul and all those directors and incredible writers and the cast, to name but a few. I mean, I sound like a tosser saying all that, but I mean that genuinely from the bottom of my heart. Everybody was incredibly special in that show, and I've never come across that since, and I don't think I ever will.
I mean, Tina, I'm sure everyone here will agree. Every time I've seen you in an interview or a TV show, you've always been so true to yourself, honest as well. And I know that you being so open and honest about your own situations have helped so many other people. And you see that every day on social media, people tweeting you and getting in touch. And I think that's incredible. So it's so nice to hear that. I mean, I see you on social media and you seem to be so happy and content now, which is so nice to see. And, you know, hopefully we'll see you back on the screen soon. So thank you for being honest there.
Thank you.
Alice, of course, I know since leaving the show, I've seen you in Benidorm on the scooter in which it was stolen. I remember your scooter was stolen. But what's life been like for you since leaving the show? And what stands out as one of the most shocking moments during your time on Shameless?
I had a bit of a break, and then we went to Australia and Singapore for a break. And then when I came back, I got doctors, then Benidorm and Scarborough, and then I did 2 or 3 adverts. But then the lockdown sort of put the kibosh on that. But it's starting to pick up a bit now. And as for me, horror moment, well, I remember, do you remember the James Dean thing we did? James Bond thing we did?
Yeah.
And I came in all painted and dressed in gold.
I remember. And I was blown
out. Gold, everything. David Trelford looked at me and he said, "Oh, here she comes, Goldminger." We have a good sense of humour, so it went all right, you know, but there we go. But life's been pretty good, yes, I'm happy and content, and things is looking up a bit, so yeah, fine. I'm having my second vacuum. I'm having my second vaccine tomorrow.
So good to hear your stories today. And now, Johnny, I know we spoke online, and I believe you've actually kind of left the acting world now since the show.
Yeah, never really done anything since Shameless. Left Shameless, and I was very keen to just kind of focus on schooling and just all that sort of stuff. And then yeah, just kind of never really yeah, just love working 70 hours a week in a restaurant now. That's what I'm living for. So
you've always got those memories to look back on, which is incredible. Like, you were in so many episodes and so many brilliant scenes. So do you ever watch it back yourself, or is that one of those things where you just don't like to do it?
no, I've never actually watched it back. To be perfectly honest with you, it makes me cringe personally. Just seeing myself at that age, yeah, it just, I don't know, for some reason it just, I've got so many fond memories of it, and it's always memories that I'll hold. And I think that with what I do for work today and all of that, I think so much of it stems from Shameless, and from being able to interact with all the cast and everyone who was maybe a little bit older than me, brought along my social skills at such a great rate, and everyone looking after me and being so kind. It's always things that I'll hold dearly, and always things that I'll be thankful for.
That's incredible. Warren, what about you? What's life been like since leaving the show, and what stands out as a shocking moment for you?
Every time I had to take my clothes off or do some kind of something like that was always shocking. But I soon...
for us, not you.
Well, yeah, the whole thing about taking... all that kind of thing was shocking, but I've managed to carry on getting bits of acting work and quirky parts, and kept going. I mean, much to my surprise sometimes. I think the most shocking thing of all is that I've ended up doing quite a lot of panto. And for a man who can't sing or dance, I find that amazing, but I kind of worked. So I've kept on going. I managed to do some film in Yorktown recently. And then, you know, life just carries on. I'm quite a contented chap, so I hope it carries on for a lot longer. And I'll never have a job like Shameless. I know that for a fact. And I think with Shameless, I have nothing but happy memories, really. And I feel like I learned a lot about acting, doing the job. So having a good place, and I had a very happy time. And, you know, happy days.
What's so nice with this reunion is to hear just how much, I find it with the other ones that we've done, is how much the show meant to you. And I know I reached out to some of the cast who didn't want to take part because they'd rather it kind of put behind them, and they've moved on. But to have you all come on today and share so many funny stories that you've shared together, it genuinely does come across like a family unit, which is it's brilliant and so nice to hear.
Oh, come and name and shame them, Lewis.
I just want to, before I say goodbye, it'd be good to hear from Dean and Elliott, kind of what life's been like since leaving the show. Alice, what's it been like for you to see everyone again and hear from them?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. I wish we were all together again, because we had such
Me and Alice
fun.
speak about 3 times a week, so this is not new for us.
Wow, you still keep in touch?
Me and Alice have probably, I mean, obviously I worked for Chris, me and was a chat. Me and Alice, to be fair, she's probably the closest person. And we speak at least twice a week. When I answer the phone, I know before you say it. But yeah, me and Alice are the closest. I'd go over and visit, and yeah, we've always stayed in touch, and we've always been super close.
We go out on the karaoke and everything. Yeah, don't like karaoke, yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
Can I just say, because all the cast here had a wonderful time we had, can I say cheers, and I hope we were all together again.
Cheers,
Alice.
everybody.
Dean, to go to you, what's life been like since leaving the show, and what stands out as like a shocking moment during your time on the show?
Oh man, shocking moment. Do you know what? If it wasn't for me technological breakdown, I'd have been here at the beginning. But I just, what a moment that stands out for me, for my episodes that became me and Veronica's, was when we were at my mum's funeral, and my mum's funeral, and it all kicked off, and Roxy, my ex-wife, was there, Roxy Benson, and Veronica had a fight, and they were headbutting each other, and we ended up in the we ended up in the toilet, me and Veronica, and she's pouring with blood, and Debbie walks in, Rebecca walks in with a crisp packet, and she goes, "Here's your mum, Kev." I think I got most of her, right?
Oh,
and gives me the crisp packet, the barbecue beef crisp packet, and I just look down at the packet and I just give it a little shake like a bag of crisps.
Oh my God.
Brilliant.
And what's life been like since leaving the show for you? What kind of stuff have you been up to?
Honestly, how much time have we got? It's been a nightmare. trying to get away from him. Have you seen me in anything else? Yes, I am him. Have you seen me in anything else? You know, it doesn't matter
I'm trying
what
to think.
you do.
I did see you in summer. I'll have to have a think though. I did see you in summer.
How far away you get from the show, but you know, it's always there. It's always, you know, Shameless and Kevin Shameless. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. And what became apparent was as well is that it was special, and the more jobs you did and the years that got away from being in the show, you realized how special it was. For the time, for the timing, for the casting, for the vibe, for the, you know, especially in the first one, because you didn't know what you were making. It was just special that we were all doing it, and it was tight, and it was a family. And I think I was on a job for the past 3 years called Jamestown for Sky One, and that was the closest that it's come to being like a Shameless vibe, and you know, everything being great scripts, where you're filming it, the people you're hanging with, the time in your life that it happens, you know. So it's all been good, you know, because you ride a wave for years. You ride the wave, the Shameless, you know, the wave of being a part of that show and the kudos that comes with it. So it's all been good, but you know, proud to be Shameless. You know, that's it forever. No matter what you do, you were in that show, and that's ultimately you're most going to be remembered for. I mean, I got cast as John Lennon in a Robert Zemeckis film, and in the paper it said all the names of the Beatles. I was playing John Lennon. It said Peter Serafinovich, Paul McCartney, Cary Elwes, George, Adam Campbell, Ringo, and Kev from Shameless is playing John Lennon. So, you know, that's it.
I love that. That's brilliant. Elliott, finally, what about for you? What's life been like since leaving the show, and what stands out as kind of a shocking moment that always stands out to you?
It's tough because just casting your mind back that far. I mean, I've just got proper fond memories of it, and I mean, to be honest, I've not watched it since for a long time, and I've watched the first series maybe about a year ago, and it was just a lovely sort of sense of feeling. Like I mean, it's funny actually hearing Johnny say he don't like watching it, and I think it's a bit of a shame because, you know, when I watch it, I feel actually like when I'm looking at that kid, I see it as a completely different person. So I'm sort of like, I mean, I completely forgot the sort of stuff that we did, and I mean, I watched the series, and the first series, that's the only one that I watched, but it was absolutely hilarious, and it was just a proper nice sense of real warm sense in your gut, you know, from being involved with it. And like everyone's reiterated there, like, it was a beautiful experience to be part of, and you know, it's when you look back afterwards when you really appreciate that. And obviously, I mean, myself, Johnny, Rebecca, we all grew up on the show, so it's hard to even gauge what you're involved with at that point. But I mean, yeah, it was beautiful. So I'm trying to think of a shocking moment. Probably Alice slapping my ass because she's mentioned it a couple of times. So she definitely tried slipping a finger, didn't you, Al?
Oh! Yeah, she did.
Elliott, well said, darling.
Did anyone? Did no one was no one nicking stuff off the set? Has anyone got? I've got costumes.
I've got something
I know,
to show you.
I mean, some merch there.
Oh, I wish I did
show you something.
Yeah, I stole the cardboard cutout of Chris Bisson, and he lived in my house for like 6 years.
Oh,
yeah, that's a big steal.
I love working with Jack Dean.
No, I was given it. Like, do you remember Jean? Jean gave it to me.
I've got James McAvoy in my cellar.
I've got the whip.
I've got the director's chair with my name on.
Dean's got the whip. I love that.
I've got the whips from behind the bar.
Yeah.
I did take something now.
And
I've got loads of little knick-knack bits and bats.
I don't know.
You know, Jodie's got the massive wooden jockey sign.
Really?
And at the end of the first series, I said to me, the second series, whatever it was, I said, yeah, you've got to take something, man. I always take something off job. So I said, I've got the whips. He's like, right, have a think about it. About an hour later, we just wrapped. He went, Dino, get round fucking back with your van. So we goes round the back of the set, and he's hanging over the back of the set with the jockey sign like that. I said, take something. He went, fucking right, get back with him. And so he's got the sign somewhere.
I've got the director's chair with my name on. Director's chair with my name on. I've got that.
Oh yeah, I've got that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but then they told us not to take them home because they had to redo them again the next year.
I've just had a really lovely memory with Dystin and Tina. Do you remember when we went to Mika's concert and we all dressed up on the stage?
Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier when we went to Mika.
Yeah, we went to it's because we went to a T4 on the beach thing, the whole cast.
That's right.
And we all was having a great time. And there was like there was an area where all the acts or all the guests that were there could get like free stuff on the stalls.
Yeah. And being a Scouser, I took all of it.
Well, they said a few of us went in to get, it was open to everyone to get in, and then they kind of said we don't want any of the Shameless cast coming in and take this
story is 100% true.
Yeah, and they kind of said we don't want any, it's not the kind of vibe that we're looking for, we don't want any of them coming in and
pick everything.
Yeah, and
they didn't want us wearing their merch.
Yeah.
We just walked in, didn't we?
Yeah, and I remember Mika was doing like a live set backstage, and we were all sat backstage, and he was about to start his set, and he spoke up for us, and he said, I just want to say it's a disgrace that, you know, that the way they've been treated tonight, it's a brilliant show. And we were just like, oh my goodness,
he gave all his stuff back. He even said, I'm giving all my stuff back, thanks, I don't want it either.
Yeah, and he really stood up for us. And so after we all kind of got talking and everything, and he came to the set because he was a big fan of the show, and he's like, oh, I'd love to see, when he was doing his concert in Manchester, he came onto the set and we sort of showed him round and everything like that, and he said, oh, do you want to come on stage when we're singing, when I'm singing, and just kind of be a part of the show?
I stayed in touch with him for years afterwards.
Oh, it was really so amazing.
It was a brilliant night, absolutely. I actually even went back the next night. He let me go back the next night with my daughter because they had a girl drummer. And Fallon were doing drums at the time, so he said, I'll just bring her back tomorrow. So I just took her again another night. It was a brilliant night.
Wasn't it brilliant?
Why Tina and I had to dress in corsets and to go on that stage, though, to do it. That's
blue corsets.
And I'm not being funny, weren't you? Yeah. But do you remember the size of me? And it took up the whole stage. You know what I mean?
Big girls are beautiful, baby. That was the point.
Yeah, that was a brilliant memory.
Memories.
We've had some great stories that no one would have known, so fans are going to absolutely love this. And just before we go and say goodbye, Elliott, what's life been like for you since leaving the show? What kind of stuff do you do now?
Well, I suppose similar to everyone else, you keep your toe in the water, don't you? So when the auditions and the jobs come about, you do. You put your best interpretation of it over as you can. So I mean, afterwards, I was fortunate enough to do bits and bats of stuff, really. So I've sort of like steadily plodded along, worked a bits, and then been off bits and stuff like that. But I think that a big part of being an actor, because you've not got a lot of choice on your situations and yourself getting the job, you can put your best interpretation forward, but because it's not solely down to you, you need stuff in your life which gives you something where you feel you're in control of something. So, I mean, for myself, it's just been getting into different passions. So, I mean, I've been studying Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for like the past 4 years. Wow. And I think that's just an amazing principle. And I'd advise anyone to get into it, to be honest. I won't sort of like just go ham into it. But I really think it's a great discipline for people to get into.
Where are you training now?
I'm training at SBG in Rochdale. Straight
You'll have to
class
come.
gym in
You'll
Rochdale.
have to come down, mate. I've been training for like the last 9 months. You'll have to come down, mate. You can tap me out.
Do a
Well,
video.
not,
Do
not,
a
rolled,
video.
not rolled since COVID because it's all obviously with it being close contact and stuff. So it's all everything's been kiboshed on that front. So
me too.
That's got put on hold for a bit. But I mean, besides that, I did an apprenticeship tattooing down at a mate's studio, so I was doing that for a bit. So that was a nice something to learn. I've got an allotment, so I grow my own veg. I've just built a shed out of pallets and just stuff like that. Stuff which is really sort of like, you know, just stuff which is a bit more down to earth and just, you know, makes you feel connected with the planet and humans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
For yourself experience, basically.
Right.
It's the only way you can do it, isn't it? Really, the only way you can learn is through yourself experiences. So I've just sort of been doing that, I suppose, intermittently in between when I can get acting roles. So.
Well, because you have to survive. I mean, you know, we have to survive.
Well, I just want to say to all of you today for joining me, thank you so much. But also, thanks for being so generous with your time. You've all been great and shared some really cool and funny stories that we wouldn't have known about. So fans are going to love this. So thank you to all of you for joining me on this Shameless reunion. It's been absolutely incredible. And I'm so grateful to you all. So thank you.
No, thanks. I think
Thank
probably
you.
some of the video of
Lovely to see you all.
Thank you.
It's been brilliant seeing you all. Keep in touch, everybody.
And everybody watching this, get the hashtag out there to bring this show back for a Christmas special.
Bye, Dean. Bye, Alice. Bye, Chris.
Thanks, Louise. Thanks for
Bye,
organising.
Jenny. Bye, Warren. Bye, everyone.